Welcome to the Wellbeing Podcast, where every episode is a step toward a healthier, happier you. Let's grow, thrive, and shine together. Don't forget to subscribe and like the Wellbeing Podcast. Share your thoughts and let us know in the comments what topics you'd love to hear about in future episodes.
Well, it's great to be back with you for another deep dive.
Today, we're diving into a question that's been kind of swirling around a lot lately. Are younger generations really more anxious or just more open about their mental health? We've got a stack of research here, articles, studies, expert opinions, and it seems like there's no easy answer.
You're right, it's a multifaceted issue, and to really understand it, we need to look beyond those catchy headlines and dig into the nuances.
Exactly, because you hear it everywhere, right? Millennials, the anxious generation, Gen Z, and the mental health crisis. It can make you wonder if there's something fundamentally different about young people today.
It's certainly a prevailing narrative, but what if this perception is less about actual anxiety levels and more about a shift in how we talk about mental health?
Okay, that's interesting. You're saying maybe younger generations aren't necessarily more anxious, but they're more willing to acknowledge it.
Precisely. Think about it. A 2021 study by the American Psychological Association found that Gen Z is significantly more likely to seek help for mental health concerns compared to older generations. That suggests a greater level of comfort in talking about these issues and reaching out for support.
So it's not necessarily that they're experiencing more anxiety,
Mm.
but they're more open to addressing it. That's a pretty big shift in mindset, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a positive sign that the stigma surrounding mental health is starting to fade, allowing younger generations to express their struggles more openly.
Now, let's not forget that younger generations have faced some pretty significant challenges.
Mm.
I mean, think about it. The 2008 financial crisis, the pandemic, climate change. It's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone those who are just starting out in life.
You're absolutely right. These are very real stressors that can have a profound impact on mental well-being. It's crucial to acknowledge the context in which these generations are coming of age.
It's not just in their heads, like some people might suggest.
Exactly. These external factors play a significant role, and we need to consider them when analyzing mental health trends.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Let's talk about social media. It's often portrayed as this villain when it comes to mental health, but is it really that simple?
Social media is undoubtedly a powerful force, and its impact on mental health is complex. It can be both a source of support and a contributor to anxiety, particularly for younger generations who are constantly bombarded with curated images and seemingly perfect lives.
It's like this 2047 comparison game. You see everyone else's highlight reel, and it's easy to feel like you're not measuring up. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that feeling.
Absolutely. And research backs this up. A 2023 study from the University of Pennsylvania found a strong correlation between heavy social media use and increased anxiety and depression, especially among Gen Z.
It makes sense when you think about it. Constantly being exposed to these idealized versions of reality can create a sense of inadequacy and pressure to present a perfect image.
And it's important to remember that social media often presents a distorted view of reality. Those picture-perfect moments are carefully curated and don't reflect the full picture of someone's life.
It's like comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Not a fair comparison.
Exactly. But here's the other side of the coin. Social media can also play a role in destigmatizing mental health. It can provide a platform for open conversations and create communities where people feel safe sharing their experiences.
That's true. You see hashtags like hashtag mental health matters and hashtag end the stigma, creating these online spaces where people can connect and find support. It's like a silver lining to this digital cloud.
It's a powerful tool for normalizing these conversations and making people feel less alone in their struggles, and that's something to celebrate.
So it seems like social media is this double-edged sword. It can be both harmful and helpful when it comes to mental well-being.
Mm.
It all depends on how we use it and how we let it affect us.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about finding a healthy balance and being mindful of how social media impacts you personally.
We've talked a lot about perception, but what about actual generational comparisons? Are younger generations truly more anxious than previous generations, or is that just a myth?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's a tough one to answer definitively. While a 2020 report by the World Health Organization did find that rates of anxiety and depression have increased globally over the past decade, with the sharpest rise among young people, we need to consider another angle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the other side of this story?
Older generations may have experienced similar levels of anxiety, but societal norms and stigma prevented them from talking about it openly. Think about it. Mental health wasn't really a topic of conversation a few decades ago. It was something people kept hidden.
So you're saying it was more of a silent struggle? They were dealing with similar challenges but didn't have the language or support systems to address them?
Exactly. A 2019 study from the Journal of Aging and Mental Health found that baby boomers and Gen Xers often internalize their struggles due to the stigma surrounding mental health. They may have lacked the vocabulary to express their emotions or felt ashamed to seek help.
Wow, that really changes the whole conversation. It's not necessarily about who's more anxious, but how different generations cope and seek help. It's a matter of perspective and cultural context.
Precisely. And it highlights the progress we've made in destigmatizing mental health. It's allowing younger generations to express their struggles more openly and seek support without fear of judgment.
And that shift in attitudes is largely driven by younger generations themselves, right?
Absolutely. They're challenging the status quo, breaking down barriers, and creating a more open and accepting environment for everyone.
It's inspiring to see them taking charge and advocating for change. It gives me hope for the future of mental health. But where do we go from here? How do we build on this momentum?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore further in our next episode.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.